Hey everybody, you're watching a physio named Jonah. That's this guy. Today, we're talking about that cold, hard cash, baby. Yeah, talk like that, what? Said in a way that will make you cringe a little bit less hard, today's video is going to be about how much money physiotherapists actually make. So if you are a student interested in the physio profession, or you just want to know what a goof like me makes for an annual salary, today is your lucky day. If you are new around here, consider hitting that subscribe button down below and clicking the bell so you are notified when I release new videos like this one. I am a Canadian physiotherapist who makes physio-related videos, so if that is the kind of thing that interests you, come on, hang out. I swear we're gonna have fun. I swear. I'm going to start off this video by sharing the specifics of my situation today, and then I'm going to get a little more broad by sharing how that may be affected by the context that you work in as a physiotherapist, as well as how long you've been in the field for. I'm making this video in January of 2023 based on my numbers that I have from 2022. Now I work in Sudbury, Ontario, that's a little town in Canada, big nickel, a baby, and I've been working as a physio for just over 3 years now. I've been working in an outpatient clinic for that entire time, so I built up a little bit of seniority, but I'm still on the newer end of the profession. As for my specific situation, I am a Canadian physiotherapist, so I get paid in Canadian dollars. I am an employee at the clinic that I work at, and I make $40 an hour. Do with this what you will. Just to highlight that again, I am a Canadian physiotherapist, meaning I get paid in Canadian dollars, and all of the numbers I will be talking about today are going to be in Canadian dollars. So make whatever conversions you need to match your specific region. Now obviously we're going to math this out to see what the annual figure is, because nobody really cares what an hourly rate is. We all want to see that end annual figure before taxes. Let's head to the desk and do some math, because we're going to be spending a good amount of time there today. I work 37.5 billable hours per week, which adds up to a nice clean $1,500 per week. Let's now take that weekly rate and multiply it out for a year, where we get $78,000. Couple thoughts here on that number. This total obviously includes no time off for the entire 52-week year, because we just multiplied our weekly rate by 52. This is not the case when we just consider stat holidays alone, let alone any vacation time that you may take. Now, I do get paid vacation at my specific clinic, but this is not always going to be the case. Looking back at my actual totals from last year, this figure was almost exactly correct. So when we're doing this multiplication method for an employee model, provided that we're not taking vacation outside of the allotted vacation hours, whatever those are, this multiplying by 52 method is relatively reliable. Okay, great, so now you know my specific rate as a physiotherapist, but that's not really why we came here today, is it? One of the main reasons I wanted to make this video is because when I was getting into physio school, going through physio school, I still really didn't know what to expect in terms of a salary as a physiotherapist, which could pose some problems. There's also just a lot of misconceptions, I think, in general about how much money physiotherapists make. One of my friend's parents, when they found out that I was going to become a physiotherapist, told me that, oh, wow, you're gonna get a license to print money when you graduate. My bank still won't accept that license for some reason. I found it difficult to get a straight answer online as well, where I remember one website I looked up telling me that the average wage for a physiotherapist in Ontario was $150,000 a year, which at the time I thought, please be true, please be true, please be true, please be true, even though I was pretty sure that wasn't the case. My hope is that by openly sharing what my numbers are as a physiotherapist and giving you an idea of what to expect in different physiotherapy contexts, that you, whoever you are, can understand the landscape of physiotherapy funding better than I did when I was a physio student or before that. But Jonah, I hear the voices in my head saying that I pretend are YouTube viewers like you, that's what you make in a year. What can I expect to make in a year if I don't work in the same context as you, if I work in a different clinic in a different city? Alright boys and girls, buckle up. It's about to get a little more complicated. There are two main areas where you can work as a physiotherapist, that being a hospital or a clinic. Now there are other areas where you can work, but I don't want to get into a bunch of niche rabbit holes today. I just want to cover the two main models, okay? In general, there are positions within a hospital that are available on an hourly salary, or there are positions in an outpatient clinic which may have a couple different models. When you work in a hospital as a physiotherapist, the pay structure is almost always an hourly rate with a full pension and benefits provided for full-time staff. This pension and benefit package is something that you really do have to factor in when considering working for a large organization like a hospital versus a smaller business like an outpatient clinic. For specific numbers, I'm going to pull straight from job postings that are in my area here in Ontario. Full-time PT positions start at $35 an hour and work their way up to $49 an hour. So using our same math from earlier, let's assume a 40-hour work week instead of my 37.5, and that multiplication is going to get us a range of $1,400 to $1,960 per week. This means that annually, before taxes or any missed days, the range is going to be from $72,800 to $101,920. Now obviously that high end of the hourly rate is going to take some time to work up to, but it gives you an idea that as a senior clinician in a hospital, you can assume that you could make up to $100,000 a year on an hourly rate with a full pension as well as benefits, with the starting rate being somewhere around $70,000 a year. I want to make a note here that within the hospital structure, there are also opportunities for vertical growth going into management, leading other members of the team, but I don't want to get into that pay structure today because I just want to talk about what you can make as a physiotherapist. Now let's shift our world to the world of outpatient private practice clinics. Now within this world of the private practice, there is much more variability in terms of how physiotherapists are paid. You can be an hourly salary employee like myself, or you could be a fee-for-service employee as well. Now the fee-for-service employee model is a commission-based model where what you bring home is based on how many patients you're seeing, which is similar to the independent contractor model, except in the independent contractor model, you obviously are functioning as your own business or a contractor outside of the business as opposed to an employee within the business. For simplicity's sake, today I'm grouping fee-for-service employees and independent contractors together under the fee-for-service model. If you're interested in terms of what makes these positions different, let me know in the comments section, and that could be an option for a future video. You've already seen how my hourly salary worked out to an annual salary, so using the same math, it's reasonable to expect that with seniority in a clinic, an hourly salary as high as $50 an hour could be achieved, which would push the annual salary up over $100,000. Now the entrance point of an hourly salary for a new physio in the outpatient model is likely going to be quite similar, maybe a few dollars an hour higher than the hospital model, but pretty similar you can assume based on what I'm making a few years into my career. Generally though, as physiotherapists become more senior in the private practice world, there is a shift towards more of a fee-for-service model. Starting percentage splits of commission can be as low as 35% of billable services, but may work their way up to as high as 65%. However, for today's high-end numbers, we're going to use 60% because it's a lot more likely to see than 65%. A big factor when we talk about commission is how much do physiotherapy services cost to attend in the first place. To make it easy, we're going to assume that the clinicians in this case are working in a clinic that has 30-minute follow-up sessions, which cost $85 each. This is about a mid-range rate, which is going to seem low in some areas and higher compared to others. This means that hourly, there is $170 of income to the clinic when this specific therapist is treating patients. At the 35% rate, that's $59.50 an hour, whereas at the 60% split, that's a whopping $102 per hour. So obviously there's no competition when it comes to hourly rate between an hourly salary versus a commission split model. But we have to take into consideration is that you're only getting paid on a commission split based on when you're actually seeing patients. And no physio that I've ever seen is 100% booked all of the time. So to get how much we can expect that commission to work for, we're going to use utilization percentage. Again, most therapists aren't treating patients from the moment they step into the clinic to the moment they leave it. So in terms of hours worked, we're going to use a utilization percentage of how much of the hours spent in clinic are spent treating patients. 85% would be a pretty high utilization rate, so we're going to be assuming an 80% utilization rate for today's numbers. We're going to take the hourly salary that could be achieved with that commission percentage split and multiply it by our utilization percentage. Okay, so here we go. If we multiply our hours worked, which is 40 hours, by our hourly pay, and then multiply this figure by the utilization rate of 80%, which becomes a 0.8, the weekly income for the 35% split would be $1,904, and the 60% split would be $3,264. Taking those specific numbers and multiplying them out to the year mark, we get $169,728 for the 60% split and $99,008 for the 35% split. Now these numbers are obviously taking a lot of things into assumption, like having an 80% booking rate for the entire year, taking no time off, which is really unlikely to have happen. But again, we're using this as a rough estimate of figures that you can expect to be paid. So what do we take away from this? Well, as a senior clinician with a high percentage split and a fairly busy schedule in a private practice clinic, you can clear the $100,000 per year annual mark by a good margin. As a senior therapist in a hospital, you're more likely to be capped out right around $100,000 a year, but you are very stable, there's not a lot of fluctuation in that money, and you generally have a pretty good pension and benefits package because you're a hospital employee. Taking those numbers we talked about, you can see how the earnings potential is higher in a private practice setting for a senior clinician, but a lot more unstable based on factors that you have some control over but not a lot of, whereas a senior hospital clinician is going to have a very stable rate that doesn't have the same top-end value as the private practice senior clinician. Young physiotherapists can expect to make around $70,000 a year pretty early in their career, with their numbers working up towards those senior clinician values over time, depending on the context they work in. These numbers that I brought up today are realistic estimates made by a real physiotherapist, so I hope this helps shed some light if this is a field that you are interested in getting into, or if you're just making some career decisions. If you've made it to this point in the video, thank you guys so much for watching. I honestly hope you enjoyed this video and learned something new about the funding models within physiotherapy. I love talking about this kind of stuff, the business world and numbers of physio, so if this is something that interested you, let me know in the comments section below, ask any questions that you may have. I'll get back to you within a couple days, and this could be something that we spend more time talking about on the channel in 2023. But most importantly though guys, as always, move your body, have a laugh today, and I will see you at the next video.